Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Beach Talk. I'm your host, Richard Montgomery. Today, my guest is New York transplant, now Manhattan Beach resident, Irene Cotter, a member of the board of the Neptunian Women's Club. Welcome, Irene.
Thanks, Rich, and thanks for having me here.
Of course. So tell us what Neptunian Women's Club is, what exactly you do.
Okay. Well, the Neptunian Women's Club was founded in 1909 by a group of suffragettes, and they founded our library, and they began an organization it's a 501c3 philanthropic organization that does cultural, civic, and educational outreach to the community. It is comprised of donation, scholarship, in-kind, and monetary donations. And we will be celebrating our 110th year in May.
It's awesome.
And what's even more exciting, in May, we'll return to our newly renovated clubhouse. We've been out of the clubhouse for over a year. We are returning to a very long-awaited renovation to meet the standards and the contemporary feel of the city, as well as become compliant with many of the city codes. The building was in dire need of repair, and our rental revenue was had really decreased over the years because of the lack of a really good kitchen and cooking facilities. Our bathrooms were in disrepair, and just the overall feel of the club was very outdated.
So you mentioned that 1909, the library. Which library was that?
They founded the Manhattan Beach Library.
In 1909?
In 1909. And 110 years later, we have a membership of over 200 members, and we do outreach to the community. All the money that we raise is in fundraising is to go back out again. And what we are embarking on now is a capital campaign endeavor to raise money to reduce the loan.
The loan for
We were forced to take out a loan. We did a campaign to raise money within the community and from our membership. In 2014, Michael Lee donated his architectural services pro bono, and he is still working with us today. And we are so excited. I have a brochure here, and on the left, it has a rendering of the new facade, which is basically complete, and the old from 1909, and you can see it's just an updated version of how the club began.
And where is the address of the building today?
The address of the building is on face front, on that far left. You can see it there, and we're at the corner of 10th and Highland.
In Manhattan Beach.
In Manhattan Beach. And one of the things that Michael captured for us, in the past, we had no opening to the ocean.
Right.
And as we all know, living in Manhattan Beach, it's all about the ocean. And he designed a front facade that is all glass. And now both our membership as well as our renters will have a view of the water.
So you took out a loan for the renovation?
For the renovation, and the money that we raise will be separate from the money we raise for philanthropy. It is totally separate endeavor. And as a member of the Capital Campaign Committee, we have developed a database, and we are reaching out, and with help from council members like you, Rich and I, for those who don't know, we go back many, many years, as he helped our neighborhood with parking with the high school. And I believe that was about 14 years ago.
14.
And then I was lucky enough to be picked to be with Rich and another council member on our Centennial Committee, which was celebrated in 2012. So I thank Rich.
She's not forgiven me yet for keeping her on that committee.
Yeah, well, that was kind of an interesting political endeavor. So
so the idea is that once it's renovated, let's say that the city or someone else, a private person, can rent out
Yes.
the hall for any reason?
Any reason. We're very happy to say, we have our first renters. It's a wedding,
Okay.
and it's the weekend of May 3rd. And our very excellent director of rentals, in presenting the club, and it was in the throes of the renovation, was able to convince the bride that she needed it the day before as well for another party.
Smart.
So we have a weekend event the week of May 2nd and 3rd, and on our opening of the clubhouse, we are having a beach bash on Saturday, May 11th, and our esteemed council member, Richard Montgomery, has agreed to MC the event.
This is payback for the Centennial Committee. This is
Payback.
what it is.
Payback. And it is a fundraiser, and it is strictly all the monies raised that night will go toward our building. We just had our fashion show a week ago, and our fashion show, all the money we raised was for scholarship. So we are very clear about anything that's got to do with the building. We advertise it up front. So
The scholarships that you get money for, that's a good question. The scholarship money goes to, is it Miracosta, are they all Manhattan Beach kids or other schools for scholarships as well?
You know, you'd be surprised, Rich, the scholarship money, which has, each year it's a little bit different based on how much we raise. It's gone from maybe $4,000 from 10, 12 years ago up to over 20, 25,000. It's Miracosta and El Camino College.
Okay.
And as far as being a resident, there are students that come from the other cities in the South Bay. We have students that come from LA. And the criteria for our scholarship is need-based is our first vetting. And then from there, it's the GPA, what kinds of resume they have as far as volunteering and clubs they belong to. And then the last piece is an interview, one-on-one.
So how does someone, if someone asked me the question, I watched you on Beach Talk, I heard about Neptunian women offering scholarships. How do they reach you to even apply for that scholarship?
The scholarship, the career counseling office at Miracosta, everything goes through the schools.
Okay.
They don't deal directly with the club. I believe we're one of other organizations that give scholarship, but we work directly with the high school. And it's about a 3-month event. And in May, which will be our ribbon cutting and first luncheon back in the clubhouse on Tuesday, May 14th,
Okay.
the scholarship recipients will be there, and they will receive their award and their monetary scholarship.
That's good. I like that part of it. Here's something else. When the people will call the city all the time and say, look, we would like to rent something else for, let's say it's an engagement party or birthday party, and we refer them to you. Are there restrictions on the clubhouse once it's renovated and you have the permit signed off to hold functions again? Are you restricted on time or alcohol or food service, or how does that work?
The director of rentals, we have a contract, and everything varies based on what the event is. We offer it for any type of venue. It could be, we have worked with other organizations that have a boutique there. They have lunches, weddings, bar mitzvah. We've had cooking classes there. They had the, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word. It's a young people's, they learn how to dance. Cotillion, sorry.
Cotillion. There you
They've
go.
had a cotillion for the whole term of a school term. They had the cotillion practice there. So the space is extremely versatile. It's 2 large rooms, 4 bathrooms, now ADA compliant.
Good.
They'll have a new, fully renovated kitchen. And the space is just a lovely space right in the heart of Manhattan Beach.
How big is the space now that you've renovated? Do you remember what?
I don't know the square footage, but I believe the capacity for guests is between 160 and 180
Perfect.
people.
No restrictions except for time. You put time on there.
Everything is flexible. I mean, where the rental committee is extremely collaborative with any client that approaches the club. And this bride that's coming in May, what she saw, she went from the photographs of the renderings of what the club would look like, and she signed on. And
That's
apparently
great.
she's made a couple of visits to the club, and it's really, it's going to be finished in another month. And when you go in there, you can really see how beautiful it is.
Well, you're a secret asset, and the secret's out. In our backyard,
Yes.
we had to put the word out. So, how much on the capital campaign you mentioned? How much are you trying to raise to cover your loan?
Our goal, this first effort ends in November,
Okay.
and then a new committee will take over. But for us, there's 5 of us, and we are trying to raise $250,000. And I believe at our luncheon last week, I believe we had raised up to $83,000.
Good start.
It's an excellent start, and it's through friends and colleagues like you getting the word out, getting us referrals, that we hope to achieve our goal. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to sit and chat with you today, even though we're not at the beach.
Next one will be the beach. So,
Okay.
do you have pictures of the rendering you want to show us? I haven't seen the rendering pictures.
I have the rendering. It's not a very big one, but this is the brochure. It's a 4-page brochure that we put together to tell our story. It's very concise, and it shows the members. And then this is kind of a fun photo on the back. It shows the original group of women in 1909, and then this is a current photograph of some of our members. And then the other thing, if I could, Rich, mention our the Neptunian Women's Club donor wall. Archer Group are the people that have been doing the construction in collaboration with Michael Lee. And the donor wall was created to thank our donors. And Miriam Page, the designer within the Archer Group, has donated her time pro bono and has come up with the designer wall. And when you walk in the clubhouse, there's a wall that's 12 feet wide. And on that wall, in silver, in a gloss and matte finish, will be our logo in the center. And then surrounding the logo, so it will be very adaptable to additional names coming in and additional donations. They're small lucite and different shapes that will be 3-dimensional, and they'll be in clusters. And we have levels of donation. Pardon me, I just don't want to say anything incorrectly. But we have bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And at the silver level, a $5,000 donation, you can have your name added to the wall. And believe it or not, we have a number of individuals who have actually signed on since January.
That's great.
When we undertook the effort. And these names will be on our wall at the Beach Bash in May.
Fantastic.
So it's a lot of work. And we're an all-volunteer organization. And I got involved in 2009. So I guess I'm starting my 10th year, or
10th year.
Finishing up my 10th year. I'm a board member. This is my second time on the board. I was VP of Philanthropy. And I came back on the board because it's the board that really sets our mission, and we work together to accomplish that. And I very much believe in what we do. It's all about acts of kindness and reaching out to people. And through all of our efforts, we've helped a lot of people in the community. So we're just hoping that our community will help us.
I think it's a great thing to ask for, and I appreciate your background history. I just had a question about those who don't understand PASA scholarships. What else you do? Can you tell us a little more about what Neptunian Women does PASA scholarships?
Okay. Well, we have a VP of philanthropy, and she works with she puts together a committee, and we do outreach to different charities that need financial support. And we tend to work with smaller ones versus the really large ones.
Are these local charities?
They're all local. I didn't bring my list, but we focus on children's needs.
Okay.
And we also work with the USO. We're very much supportive of the military community. And we do a tremendous amount of in-kind. And in-kind is when you offer material items, not money. And a lot of organizations, like we work with children's hospitals, they may need baby diapers, and we do a lot of, they make blankets and they knit infant caps for newborns at the different hospitals. So our in-kind, we work with Cheer for Children. It's an organization in Redondo Beach. They're about 30 years old, another grassroots, all volunteer. And they do outreach to Harbor UCLA and children who are either chronically ill or have come through the court system. And these children have really nothing. And every Christmas, they did adopt a family. And we would match up a family with a member or a group, and they would get the list of things that the children wanted. And it was basic needs, clothes, and then they could have toys or games. And we started, the first year we did it, we maybe had 3 families adopted. Cheer for Children literally went out of business in 2018. Unfortunately, they just couldn't find volunteers to do it anymore. But our last effort, we were up to 30 families being adopted.
Wow.
And I think we comprised almost half of the total amount of families adopted. So our stories are great. I mean, if we could get the word out.
We're doing that today. We're getting the word out
like
for you.
I said, I appreciate it. We do a lot with, we work with Walk with Sally. We provide volunteers. We provide volunteers to the Richstone Family Center. So our a lot of the work that is done is just done one-on-one with women in our club that are just helping. I think we helped you at Christmas time.
You did?
The toy drive,
Our
you
toy
did.
drive. Thank you for that. You and President Jan Fleming and all your board members.
Right. So it's a great group of women. That's another benefit to being a member. And it's just been a wonderful opportunity for me. And I enjoy what I do. Some days it's a little harder than others. And just running into you today and having this opportunity to really spread the word, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I think most people don't know that for years, I don't know how many years you did it, but I can tell you, I never wrap my Christmas gifts. I always take my gifts unwrapped for years. I don't know how many years you were there at the Manhattan Village Mall.
Thanks for reminding me. That was
How
such
many
a sad
years
moment.
were they there?
I think we were there almost 30 at the Manhattan Beach Mall.
So I've been in the city 30 years. So every year I take my unwrapped gifts to Neptunian women. They have a booth set up in the mall, they used to, and they wrap all your gifts. While I go do something else in Meander, I come back and my gifts are always perfectly wrapped.
And it was also our biggest fundraiser. And this year in 2018, December of 2018, the mall, they're doing a major renovation. I don't really know if they are new owners, but for the first time, they told our club that we could not be there. And for us, it was a huge loss of revenue for philanthropy. And our president tried, I think they had meetings for months. And it was a very well-organized, supported effort by our board members. For some of our members, it was the only event that they look forward to all year.
Right.
And despite trying to work with their restrictions, and at the end, it was untenable for us to try and do it because we would have had no security. And we invest a lot of money in buying boxes and wrapping paper and ribbon decorations. And they just made it impossible, and we had to decline the very small space they were giving us. And apparently we heard that a lot of people came looking for us. We were there 10 to 12 days up until through Christmas Eve.
I remember.
And having worked the booth for 10 years, we used to get the best were the dads that would come in with, maybe they had 3 or 4 children, and they could have like 30 presents. And they would just leave it down there, and they'd go off, and then they would come back. And hoping with the efforts of friends that the mall will agree to let us come back in 2019.
I hope so too. I think that the mall renovation, Manhattan Village Mall, is going through so much change, and new people remind me that we'll come back to that topic and ask them again early on instead of waiting until later in the year. Talk to them early about having that spot again for attending women to have that wrapping station again, not only for the financial part of it, but also for the ease of those of us that drop gifts off.
Oh my goodness.
We miss having that option, the flexibility to say, look, I'm buying these gifts and I can't wrap. You don't want me wrapping to be a see-through present. So I'll give it to you and I leave and come back. That option's gone for us as well. So it's not just a financial impact to you and your club. Those of us that can't wrap, that are wrap challenged, we need that option to come back to us.
And I think also it brought more people to the mall because the word of mouth, we were the only group within the area that offered wrapping.
I agree. I don't think anyone else ever does that before. So remind me to bring that topic back to you.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that, about getting back in there, whether you and the president and I go back to the mall and ask them to bring that back. That's a key issue for us.
Okay.
So
we would certainly appreciate that because Jan Fleming, our president, I believe the conversation started in June.
Of last year.
And every month she was back there. And up through November, even with lead times for buying the materials, we all, the board supported her. And we said, yeah, we can do it with 3 weeks notice versus, we would have months to prepare for it.
Right.
And by mid-November, I think it was about a week before Thanksgiving, they made what they were going to give us. You couldn't have set up tables. You had no way to secure your materials.
Right.
And it would have been logistically impossible.
So this year we'll start early.
Well, we appreciate it.
Because
we're ready to go.
The mall construction, as you know, they opened the 500 space parking garage on the north end.
Right, been in it. It's very nice.
Near Rosecrans, and the Macy's renovation and combination is complete. So a lot's happening there. New restaurants, things are going. It's going to be a fantastic mall when it's all done. But we need to talk to them early about bringing this back. That is a Manhattan Beach institution as far as I'm concerned.
And for us, from a philanthropic standpoint, that we raised a lot of money, like between 15 and 20,000, and that all went back out in donations.
That is our project this year.
Okay.
So before I let our viewers go about you, so tell us the story. I know you're from New York, but how you came out to Manhattan Beach. That's a good side story if you want to hear that story. How did you get stolen from New York to because we're named after Manhattan, the borough in Manhattan.
Yes.
On the coin flip.
And it's just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence.
I got recruited I was in the beauty industry, and I got recruited by Max Factor. They were looking for a vice president of skincare and fragrance. And I remember getting the call, and I said, well, I'm not moving to LA. And they were like, well, they've heard about you, and they want to meet you. And I agreed to meet in New York. They only wanted candidates from New York. And I really liked the woman that I interviewed with, and the next morning the recruiter called and said, well, how did it go? And I said, oh, I really like Sharon, but there's no way I'm moving to LA. Well, Sharon really liked you. They want to do references. And I said, no, I'm not moving. I don't want to mislead them. And then the president of Max Factor came in 2 weeks later, and we had a very nice conversation, and I said, Alan, I appreciate it. I've just got no interest in moving. And when I got back to my home, my apartment, there was a message from Max Factor trying to arrange my flights out to California. And then they made an offer I couldn't resist, and I agreed to do a year. They made my offer very appealing. And then the relocation people took me to Brentwood. That's where I picked, because I didn't really know where I was. I don't even think they showed me Manhattan Beach. I don't remember. I remember the Marina and Santa Monica. And then 2 years later, I met my husband on a blind date. And he's been in Manhattan Beach over 40 years. And we decided to get married. And I remember saying to him, because I liked Brentwood, I said, well, I have a 2-bedroom. Just sell your house and move to Brentwood.
That went well.
Well, he kind of was really nice about it, and he obviously persevered, because I moved to Manhattan Beach, and little did I know what it was. And we'll be celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary in October.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And now you made the right choice.
Oh, I definitely made the right choice.
Manhattan Beach versus Brentwood, you think you made the right choice there?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is awesome. We'll look forward to your time. Congrats on the capital campaign.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. You're really you're a good guy.
You're always welcome. That's our Beach Talk this week. We'll catch you again next week. Have a good weekend.